You boys want to see some holy Japanese titties? Well, in today's movie, you'll get plenty of those. However, it's not as exciting as it sounds. In fact, this movie is quite grim. Which I don't know why, but anytime I want to cover a Nikkatsu movie, I think to myself, this'll be easy, it'll go by fast, it'll be an easy watch, and then 15 minutes into this film, we get a homemade abortion with a piece of wood. And to make things worse, the father of the aborted child is also the girl's dad.
外でくだらない男たちと罪を犯していたのでしょう。
And today's family entertainment is of course Nun Story Frustration in Black, not to be confused with Nun's Diary Confession, which I've also covered. The story is quite simple. We follow Yuki, who's a young graduate, probably from high school since this is Japan, but to save my ass, I'll say that she just graduated college. And instead of going into the workplace, she joins this monastery. There, the abbess, who is the head nun for anyone who was lucky enough not to grow up Catholic, accepts her with open arms. She gives her a Christian name, Saint Maria, and then they bless her into the monastery. However, the abbess is quite ill, and right as the movie starts, she is sent to a hospital to be taken care of, which will basically lead the monastery to turn into pure debauchery. And already from the first night, Saint Maria realizes that this convent might be a little weird, because she hears some noises, and those noises are another nun whipping herself for sinning. Which for me, a nun whipping herself is not the most shocking thing about this scene. It's probably the depiction of Jesus Christ on a cross that is ripped as fuck. And the next day, the priest, Father Asshole, I'll call him for the sake of this video, goes to see the head nun to talk to her about something. And there we see even more sins coming from the nuns because they're clearly thirsting after the priest. Only one will get some action, and I don't remember which one it is. It's not really important. Nikkatsu just wanted to show us TNA. During that day's breakfast, we also see that one of the nun is sick. She's sitting at the table trying to eat her breakfast, but she can't contain herself and she goes to the bathroom. Obviously, all the head staff realizes that there's something wrong with her. And what is wrong with her? Well, she's pregnant, which is of course forbidden because they're nuns. They're supposed to be virgins. So instead of doing the sensical thing, which would be conversating between adults, they just torture her. Quite brutally. They whip her and they pour some hot wax on her to know who the father is. She of course doesn't want to mention it because the father is her dad. Eventually, they realize that they can't get any information out of her, so the movie decides to return to being sexy. By introducing this lesbian couple who are just there for, titillation's sake. Since I guess somebody on the production team realized what they were making, and they probably thought to themselves, this is still supposed to be kind of erotica, so let's just throw that in there. The next day, the young nuns are hanging out outside and they see a rabbit. So of course, they run after it, they pet the rabbit is very cute, but oh boy does it look very scared. And one of the head nuns go and see Sister Maria to tell her that the head nun wants to see her. Sister Maria goes to the head nun's office and the head nun tells her that the abbess really wants to see her. She's not feeling well, she's at the hospital, and she would really like some company. In between that, we meet Sister Sarah, who's not very dedicated to God. She sneaks out of the monastery to see a group of men, and those men will play rock, paper, scissors to know who has sex with her first. And they have a shag van, which that scene may indicate that this film wants to go back to being sexy. However, the group of men are complete garbage, and what they do is that they see Sister Maria, on her moped. Yep. Whatever, Sister Maria's on a moped, you've never seen a nun on a moped before, you uncultured swine, and they get pretty excited at the idea of deflowering her. forcefully. Anyways, before this gets too grim, we get some backstory on Sister Maria. She goes to see the abbess, and the abbess tells her how she found her as a baby outside the monastery, basically saying that she was a child of God and a gift sent from heaven. And obviously, that scene is very emotional, but knowing what type of movie this is, it's not gonna last long. Of course, Sister Maria on her way back stops by to look at the ocean. There she meets a man who plays the trombone, or the trumpet, an instrument that you blow into. They have a small interaction, and Sister Maria hops back on her moped. However, she won't have the time to do so because she's gonna get gang raped by Sister Sarah's friends. And of course, the nuns at the monastery won't be empathetic to her situation at all. In fact, they'll get pretty upset because she had sex with men. The characters in this movie are lovely. At least the nuns also punish Sister Sarah, even though they don't know what she did. They basically just torture her because she snuck out, and eventually they'll tell her to just go, which is absolutely a trap. She comes out of the monastery and sees a bunch of hooded figures, basically inverted colors KKK members, and they throw her off a ledge, which I thought murder was like a capital sin, but I guess not if that person is what you call a common whore. After that, this is where we learn that, Sister something, the girl that was pregnant, was basically forced into having a child with her father, and that she also has a brother. That brother is the guy who played the trumpet. So she asks Sister Maria to get out of there and give a letter to her brother. And Sister Maria obliges because, she feels terrible about what happened to her. She even tried to commit self-death and was saved by that sister's brother. Following me? That's the issue with talking about a nun movie, is that the priest is called father, the abbess is called mother, the nuns are called sister, but they also have relatives, so it just makes it very confusing. Sister Maria runs to trumpet guy to give her the letter, and the letter basically explains that her father raped her and forced her to have a child, and yep, the brother is of course very upset. Very, very upset. So he runs to the monastery to discover that they're torturing his sister, and he gets mad. So of course, he goes apeshit. I don't blame him, and he kills the priest and saves his sister. After that, he ends his revenge by murdering his own father. And then the movie still remembers that this is supposed to be sexy, so the final 5 minutes are Sister Maria and the guy having sex together. Thank you, movie, for trying to be titillating after we witness the horrible side effects of incest. So, what did I think of Nun Story Frustration in Black? I don't really know. On one end, this is really fucking bleak, grim, and disturbing. But on the other end, this is just another Nikkatsu nun movie. Most of those are pretty bleak, disturbing, and grim. However, this one doesn't have the finesse and artistic merit behind it like School of the Holy Beast, which I really need to talk about because that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Also, the transfer is pretty dark, it's kind of hard to see things, but overall, the story is so bleak, it's almost over the top. Like, it's gross, it makes you feel dirty, and the attempts at sexiness are not very welcome. It kind of makes this tonally inconsistent. Not as much as like a Cat 3 like Daughter of Darkness that just throws slapstick in there, but still, it's quite like shocking the tones of this film. Since this is a Nikkatsu movie, the acting is pretty solid, the music is pretty solid, like it's a solid flick, and it's a solid flick that makes you feel gross. But would I recommend it? I don't know. Maybe if you're a masochist, like me, I guess. Yeah, I'd recommend it.